imagine hearing about a guy who lives in a cabin who's lived there since the early 20th century, and imagine the change you see in that life. And that's reflected in the novella, and then again in the film in such a great matter-of-fact way. Like all of a sudden there's a chainsaw on the logging camp. Hearing this story and then that activating his fiction writer's brain in a way. This is not a biopic. Dennis Johnson's a much more impressionistic writer than that. You're not going to look at his landscapes and say, oh, that's exactly what that looks like. You're going to see the brushstrokes, and what he's really writing about is time. That's what I was so curious about when we went to see the film. Was I've adapted enough and been adapted enough to know that there's such different forms that things are going to have to change. And it's going to be hard for me as a lover of this novella to let go of things.
Yeah, totally.
But if I come away with the same feeling, if I come away with this idea of the mystery of time and of grief and all those things, then, you've created, I think, a good adaptation.
And kind of the poetry and instability of memory.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think if there's anything, I really love what you just said about the novella and the film, and how where I find perfect harmony between the two is that neither Dennis Johnson nor Clint Bentley were just going to call balls and strikes about some person's life. Right. And it's like, we're going to give you a kind of flutter of memories that we think we can attribute to this character to tell this very rich story.